with that, welcome to our small, intimate gathering. We welcome your questions. Wait, hold on. Media questions, just want to make sure, behind you.
I'm seeing you're a strong candidate for the union. However, what are the criticism for the union as opposed to the do you have any power to
help? Yes, absolutely. The question is about helping to strengthen the union movement. I think the example of the fast food workers is a great one. I think the example of the car wash workers is a great one. And I want to thank Speaker Quinn for her. Exactly. I want to thank. Okay, wait. We're going to go through the whole list. The fact is, I want to thank Speaker Quinn for having stood up on behalf of workers who deserve to be in a union. The mayoralty of New York City should be deeply concerned about making sure that working people have rights, have good wages, have benefits. This is in all of our interest. You know, anyone who tries to suggest somehow the needs of individual families aren't of the concern of the greater society, that's ridiculous. I look forward, as mayor, to helping to build the labor movement in this city. I look forward to the day when the fast food workers get the wages and benefits that they deserve. Car wash workers are members of unions as they deserve to be. Yes, the security workers, yes, yeah, the whole bit. But it really is all of our business. Because a family that has decent wages and benefits is a stable family. And that's good for all of us. And I always remind one of the most important elements of our society is all of us collectively as taxpayers. If we want to respect the fact that the best way for people not to end up needing more and more public service is for them to have a decent job with decent wages and decent benefits, the taxpayers will realize it is in everyone's interest for people to be members of unions.
For you and for the speaker, are you made a decision who's going to be the next public advocate?
The people make that decision.
Who you would support?
As you know, up to date, I have not endorsed in that election. Again, up to date, I have not endorsed in that election. We'll come back to that later.
What do you say when Mr. Loda pretends that the theme of the Tale of Two Cities is a divisive theme?
There's nothing divisive about acknowledging the pain that people are going through. There's nothing divisive about talking about that fact substantiated by the current administration. 46% of New Yorkers at or near the poverty level. That has to be talked about, and not just talked about, we have to then discern the solutions and act on them. So it is in fact necessary to talk about the Tale of Two Cities. It is in everyone's interest. You can't address a problem until you acknowledge it. That's a human reality. And I think the people of this city demand that all of us in public service level with them about the extent of the problem and what we're going to do about it. Okay, first grade.
Question for Speaker Quinn. At some point during the time there, you said that New Yorkers can't trust Bill de Blasio. So do you trust him? And if so, what's changed from just a few weeks ago?
You know, we're here today after a campaign, and it was a hard-fought campaign by all, and campaigns are, you know, at their essence about drawing contrast between yourself and your opponent. But I'm going to tell you, I trust Bill de Blasio. I believe he will be a terrific mayor for the city of New York, and I would urge all New Yorkers to make sure they not only go vote for him in November, but they work for him between now and November to make sure that he gets elected. This is about moving our city forward to a better place, and I know the best person to do that is Bill de Blasio. These are the ways to campaign again. You're looking for support of extending term limits. You have a change of heart on that issue at all? Have you forgiven her for that? I don't know that it's about
I don't think it's about that. I think it's about, look, as I indicated, we have a long history of working together. And, you know, I think as mature human beings and New Yorkers, we understand that people are going to have differences. And by the way, I respect Christine Quinn for being a fierce competitor. When she's out on the playing field, she plays hard, and I say amen. Everyone should play hard when they're a candidate. But we obviously have a long history of working productively together. And, we had a difference on term limits, and that's fine. And that issue, by the way, is made moot by the people's decision in 2010, which is now the law of New York City. So, like the Speaker, I look forward to moving forward to addressing the real pressing issues of the city, and that is that tale of two cities I've spoken about. Let's go to the middle, see if there's anyone. I'm sorry if the left wing over here is getting all the questions. Let's go to,
Are we going to see Speaker Quinn campaigning for you actively?
I am happy to help in any way that the public advocate and his campaign would like. Anything they need me to do, I'm happy to do, and I know I speak for the vast majority of my volunteers and supporters when I say that. Anything they need, they should just give us a ring, send us an email, we're happy to help.
and we will be requesting that help, and we are very, very grateful to get that help.
You were an early supporter of Occupy Wall Street, which is now its second anniversary. How do you envision this movement to be treated differently by the Blasio administration and how City also?
I think the Occupy movement made a powerful point to this nation about the reality of our economy and some of the things we have to do to address people's suffering. I don't know what the future of that movement is. I simply can say that I respect what people in that movement are saying, and I will certainly endeavor in every way to treat them with respect as mayor.
One, two more, please.
Yeah.
Now that Bill Thompson and Speaker Quinn have both come out to support you, do you expect John Lee to do the same thing?
John has been very gracious. We haven't had a particular conversation about next steps, but we spoke the day after the election, and as has been the case working with him also for many, many years, he was gracious and positive, and we'll take it from there.
Last question, please.
On the topic of Occupy, do you see any similarities between your call for attention to cities and equality with the movement?
Obviously. Again, I think the core message, it's a complicated movement to say the least, but the core message was we have to address inequality. And I think it was an important message. And I think it's what the people expect from all levels of government. I just want to emphasize, we talked about this during the campaign, but it bears repeating. In this country today, we're watching as our Congress, the House of Representatives in particular, refuses to act on so many of President Obama's proposals that actually would address the depth of people's economic suffering. Therefore, state and local governments have to carry a burden, have to step up and address the problem that by right should be substantially being addressed by the national government. But we don't have that illusion anytime soon. I mean, we'd love to see, I know Carolyn Maloney would love to see a very different House of Representatives next November. But and I think we should all thank her for her patience dealing with some of her Tea Party colleagues down there. But really, in truth, we don't expect a fundamental change in the Congress in the short term this year. And so it is up to states and localities to address the inequalities, to address the results of 5 years of the worst economy since the Great Depression. And that's what this election will be about. I want to remind people, I don't think 10 years ago, for example, if I had said to you that 5 years later, almost half the city would be near the poverty level, you would have told me I'd be crazy. But something profoundly different is going on in this city, and it's up to us to come up with solutions.
We were with Joe Loda
Thank you.
45 minutes ago, and he said,
Last one.
we were with Joe Loda 45 minutes ago, and EC 37 and retroactive raises for union members came up. And he said, unlike you, he's had a lot of experience here, doesn't need on the job. I'm just trying to be fair. Can you respond to that? Be fair.
I'll keep my response minimal. Hold me back. Look, this is about whose side you're on. The most important issue in terms of the next mayor of the city is whose side you're on. And I have made clear that we have to address what middle-class people, working-class people, and poor people are going through in this city right now. And we need to take a very, very different approach than that of the current administration. I have made the questions of inequality front and center in my campaign. Mr. Loda hasn't. So there'll be ample time up ahead to to talk about the specifics. But if it's a question of what you're thinking about, who you're thinking about every day, who you wake up in the morning knowing you're here to serve, I think people will see a very big difference between me and Mr. Logan.
Thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.